But anyway, Robin Hood episode 3 on MGM Plus, and like I was saying in our pre-show, it's the only streaming service you guys probably don't have. It's only $8 a month. I'd tell you to pick it up because I've seen some other stuff in there because MGM is a old ass movie studio that's got lots of old movies that you grew up with. You'll find something to watch on it. You might want to check it out.
$7.99 a month. First week free.
I've gotten my money's worth out of it thus far. But mostly it's been my money's worth because of Robin Hood, which is a show King Z wanted to talk about and watch and review.
Yes, I've always been a huge fan of the Robin Hood story. My first introduction to Robin Hood was the Disney Robin Hood with the foxes and oodalali dolly, what a day.
I love that. Love it.
So this one caught my eye because one, you're dealing more with the queen than you are the king. This is post Crusades. And you have a different take on the Sheriff of Nottingham, where he's not there supporting Prince John. Prince John is not around. He supports the crown like he's supposed to. And I don't think they've hinted at that it's King Richard. Because
they haven't said it once.
They haven't said it once, but they just introduced
the
the queen in this episode. And I think they're going to, and like a lot of the trailers and stuff I've seen, she's going to be the primary antagonist, and the sheriff is going to be her right-hand man in this pursuit.
100% going to be Cersei from Game of Thrones. Which is going to be fun when it goes that way because her introduction here was not completely cold-blooded in this episode. It wasn't warm, it wasn't engaging, but it wasn't Cersei Lannister just yet. But I get this out of the way before we talk about episode 3. This is a rare winter wolf. I told you so. I told you the guy he shot was LaForce. I told you.
Yes.
I told you. I knew it. I knew they all didn't just look alike. I knew it wasn't.
My wife literally almost pushed me off the couch.
I'm saying,
we told you.
We told you. I'm like, wait a second. I knew it.
I was wrong, but let me defend myself.
There's no defense.
Because the way he was talking, where he was like, I had lots like pushed up against the wall and I was just right there. That's what Lars did. So that's what made me think it was Lars.
There. I'm like, it made more sense to me that they would have killed a character that they could, because they'd spent that whole episode, couple scenes building that dude up, building him up, giving him the plot armor, and then like, nope, we got a big hole in the plot armor, dead center mass, and then Loxley shot him through it. So dude, that was awesome. That was like 2 years in the making. That was some good shit. Yeah. And like and subscribe.
Don't worry.
Roasting King Z on.
Look at the scoreboards, Grasshopper.
I know, right? No, I unplugged it. I'm looking at the scoreboards. This show continues to surprise me, right? It's a well-written drama piece that has enough action to keep it interesting, and this episode was no exception. There's probably a nice little, a physical action piece, like a shootout, a fist fight, whatever, every 15 to 20 minutes. And then interspersed with that stuff is solid character development, a little bit of intrigue, a little bit of, you can see where alliances are going to start being formed now that the setting is shifted from Sherwood into the city, into the palace. We're going to get some of the palace life stuff. Who's going to screw who out of what, or literally. We're going to see a lot of that kind of stuff. The queen is obviously a major character. She's going to be introduced. She had a couple of good little witty bits where they're like, oh, that one's a fox. Got to keep an eye on him. Oh, that one's no better. Keep an eye on her.
She's a sly cat.
Right. And that one, a sly cat. That one's a rabid dog. And that one's a sly cat. Watch them both. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the queen's an interesting character. So that world, just like Derry, it's getting bigger now as the show goes on. And I think that's going to serve it well, because I'm not sure how interesting it would be if the whole thing was just in Sherwood, in that one little hamlet, and with him on the run. It's obviously going to come to a head. They had a near miss in this episode where they were almost captured. We'll talk about the events. But I wanted to say this. I got to send an engraved invitation over to MGM Plus. These guys. Dude, did you happen to read the episode description for episode 3?
It was pointed out to me, and it's
Mother of God.
It starts with the spoiler right at the top.
Dude, the first fucking 4 words are the death of Huntington's son. And I'm like, wait, what?
What?
Why would you say that? Because I'm like, no, LaForce wasn't his son, was he? Did I miss that? I'm like, no, he was just banging the sheriff's daughter. And I'm like, I'm going through the whole episode. I'm like, the Huntingtons aren't even in this episode. Oh, wait, they're there for the last 10 minutes. Oh, wait, he smacked one of his sons already. And the other son didn't look like he was keen on getting smacked. One of these two is dead. Thanks.
See, I want to know because they're building the whole Maid Marian and Robin Hood. They can't stop thinking about each other.
Yeah, they're doing the tale.
How is she going to they keep building this where he's like, how is she still going to be in love with him? Like, dude, you killed the captain of the guard, and then my brother died chasing you.
With one of your new dirty forest friends.
Yeah,
True. Not wrong. But there's a lot again. We're introducing more characters because not only do we get the Queen, we get Little John in this episode. We get 3 other characters in this episode that Rob kind of falls in with. That's going to be his little band of merry men. Obviously, that's where they're going with that. At first, I got my hackles all up in a bunch because we meet the 3 Miller brothers. Get that? The 3 brothers. Ralph sounds suspiciously not like a brother. And I'm like, oh, is this because it's MGM? Is this because it's a modern show? Are we doing the representation thing? Because, dude, come on, it's 1192. Stop it. Just don't. Right. And then there was a reason we were doing the Arya Stark thing, and I'm like, okay, I better pull myself back from the edge and be like, all right, so this makes sense. If I were her, I might talk a little deeper because she wasn't selling anybody.
No, unless she was trying to go for a very young boy.
And no, I don't think that was not the angle there. And then, of course, and this is a bit of, I think, a representation pick, but it's nothing they haven't done in other Robin Hoods. They're going with the black actor for Little John. I'm like, dude, you didn't have to do that. He's probably great, but like, it's Robin Hood, dude. Just pick a big white guy. Hundreds of millions of us out there.
Well, technically, they could use a black guy because a black ancestry in the English Isles started in the 3rd century. Yeah, they were brought in over by the Romans.
It's just, yeah, I get it. It's still statistically insignificant and not what the original lore. It calls him like a big bellied white guy with red hair. It's the Snape thing.
He's supposed to be he's supposed to be a Scotsman.
This one's a big bellied white guy with red hair. That's what I'm saying. If it literally didn't say it, fine, but it does, and that's got to count for something. Like the subject.
But there's also been a lot of changes to the whole story.
Oh, dude, I mean, it's evolved 10 trillions of ways, and again, that's why I'm going to give it the pass, actually, because this is a alternate history from the ground up retelling. The Loxleys aren't Christian in this. They're their pagan faith from being Saxon or whatever. So, I mean, there's some differences there. And the actor was good. He was physically put on a show, beat the crap out of the 4 of them with minimal effort. That was pretty badass, actually. So I don't want to hurt you, but I will. I'm just here for this asshole.
So what's funny? Have you ever played Civilization 6 or 7?
No, I haven't played the 2 new ones now.
Okay, so 6, when you build your scout character, it's a guy with a stick with a dog. I'm like, look, they brought the Civilization scout to life.
They just imported him, brought him in. Makes sense. That's what they built a little tension with him, because Robin's on the run. He's a bounty hunter in this version, I guess, or he's just a guy that.
He's just a guy who wants 200 heckles or shekels or whatever they're calling it. Ducats. Yeah.
Right. So he gets wrapped up into that a little bit. He's got a little interesting. There's a little exposition-y back dump about, I've seen Gata before. I killed my dad. I killed 10 other guys. But murder's bad, though. Don't do that shit. I'm like, you're not really selling me on the whole murder's bad thing. You seem to be doing okay. But yeah. So the story goes a couple different directions in this episode, but they were all interesting. We get stakes elevating because Huntington is becoming a very interesting villain to me, because he's going to be the one that keeps instigating and making all the wrong decisions that the sheriff's going to have to clean up, because we get it again here. The sheriff gave him specific orders. He said, dude, get to the river. Don't fucking cross until I get there.
Yeah.
And what does this dipshit do? Fucking goes to the river, crosses anyway. Bad shit's going to happen. You know what I mean? And he already lost a kid because he went there. Shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
So it's going to be him. I think the sheriff's going to kill him. 100%. Sheriff going to kill him. Prediction. I think that's going to have to be how that goes. But I like Huntington because he's a flawed human abusive piece of shit. There's no way around that. But he shows genuine remorse and grief when his son dies, and like death, and like declares like the vengeance oath, like I will find you and kill you.
How much was the gut punch of his last words?
I don't remember what they were.
I wanted to make you proud, Dad.
Oh, dude, the kids last. Oh yeah, dude, dude, yeah, dude, it was bad. It was rough because he had just watched his dad pimp slap older brother for like just asking the question, "Hey, did you have anything to do with the Loxley hanging?" Slap.
Yeah, like
don't you question me, boy. It was good.
Like he got the ring in there. That thing was marked up.
Oh yeah, dude. He gonna have that. It was like the Rick James skit from the Chappelle show. It's like slap. You get the unity on his face. Man. It was
unity.
rough. Exactly. Dude, that's exactly what it was. So that whole exchange is good. One of Rob's friends is the one that shoots Aaron Huntington.
Yep.
So,
after Rob taught her how to shoot.
Dude, turn around and fucking drilled him center mass. I'm like, okay, so that's there we
Actually,
go.
It was more shoulder. It was like straight heart though.
Near enough through the heart. Yeah, no, he caught him through the heart. It was definitely on that side. So that's a threat escalator right there. Those characters obviously aren't throwaways now. Like they're going to be part and parcel for like the rest of this run through the Vengeance tale.
What were the names again? Ralph.
Henry is one of them because he said the king's Henry. My brother's Henry. He don't look very kingly to me. Again, funny. Yeah. Funny when's funny supposed to be funny. Henry. I don't remember what the middle kid's name was. The simple one was
middle
Henry.
one. The one he was there flipping the knife around. It reminded me of the character of Will Scarlet.
Yeah. Yep. I was wondering if his name's definitely Will, and like you said, Will Gamewell on the show as that character. That's obviously that'll be the character that goes that route. 100%. I don't think it'll be middle kid here.
Yeah, but he has those knife skills, so that was nice.
Blinking and not chew. If they bring either of those characters on the show, it's a W. Like it's W show on MGM Plus, and I'll stay subscribed for a year.
And my dog Pogo died in the fire.
Good shit. Dude, any complaints on this episode? I felt like it was actually 10 minutes short. Did you notice that it was 10 minutes shorter? I think it was like 49 minutes.
Really? No, actually, I didn't. Did. Actually, I think it was still an hour 6. It was an hour 6.
I swear I saw 49. Dude, I must have blanked out on looking at the timeline.
Yeah,
because it felt like it moved quicker. Even when Marion got to the Queen's court and she was kind of being
there was a lot of information given in this one, but it wasn't done at a like Derry episode 2. There was a lot of information given, and it felt like the episode was longer than it was. This one flowed nicely, and there was a nice exposition to drop all the information they needed for everyone to need to know.
Well, that's what I mean. Like they broke it up again, like with Rob meeting the people. With him evading Huntington's guys early, they threw in a Will Scarlet sex scene to break that up in the second half of the episode. So
they have to have one. They're going the Game of Thrones route on that.
Seems like one at least every episode. They're throwing one in there at least on each pass. So, I mean, they're breaking it up with enough stuff that's visually interesting for whatever reason.
This one was a little more graphic than the other ones too.
Oh yeah, definitely for sure. And I think it's probably because the main character was the guy. And it was an unnamed, extra as his partner and not one of the lead females.
One of the maids.
100%. That's why that happened. Because those two, Marion's probably not having a sex. It's the other one. The sheriff's daughter. Her agent was probably like, yeah, not dogs.
She's a woman.
We're gonna be taping the hair over the frontals, and you won't be seeing anything.
So you do speak Norman.
Yeah. The queen's kind of clever. I like her. She had a couple of good zingers like that. Yeah. And I like that she's positioning herself as someone that understands flat out. Like, I'm not winning any fistfights around here. And what I need around me are useful people, specifically useful women who can access supplies of information that like other that men can't.
Well, because people good. And the reason why you do that with your servants and your maids, people talk freely around them because they don't exist.
Right. Because they don't see you.
They don't see you. They're John Cena in there.
But see, dude, but that's what makes authentic show to look at that. Episode Pape says episode 3 was 52 minutes. I knew it felt shorter, dude. I knew it. I'm telling you.
Maybe that's
I knew
because
it.
the intro was counted in when I started it, so that the
Yeah,
intro where it's
yeah.
telling you MGM
Might
Plus
have.
and this
Yeah.
future tomorrow
Yeah, I'm like,
films
no,
for
no,
the
skip,
ages.
skip, skip. But yeah, but I like when they write characters this way because it doesn't feel fake to me. There's zero chance that this queen, outside of carrying like a little dagger in a garter because or up the shirt sleeve because she would. That's authentic. I get that. She's not duking it out mano a mano with even the least skilled member of her guard, of her household guard. It's not fucking happening. It's stupid. And every time they introduce that girl boss character in one of these settings, it feels wrong. Unless you're telling a straight up fantasy show like The Witcher, where you're telling me up front Ciri has powers, she can regenerate wounds, she's actually as strong as a guy, but because of her, she was born under this stuff, whatever. Then I'm like, okay, cool. Because you know why? I don't care about shit like that. I play D&D growing up. I play video games growing up. Samus is one of my favorite fucking characters of all time from Metroid. There's millions of ways you can make that work, but it doesn't work when you're telling a period piece fucking drama like Robin Hood or
And there
Game of
were
Thrones.
known warrior queens back
Of
then,
course.
but they were trained as little girls
Right.
growing up. You just
And this queen
don't
ain't
develop
one.
that.
Right. And this
Yeah.
queen isn't one of them.
No,
That's what I'm
she
saying.
wins by her mind because she's
Of
clever
course.
and she's cunning and she's probably very calculating.
I think that's the vibe they'll go because they're going to differentiate her from Cersei Lannister from Game of Thrones, who was those things, but also liked to throw the poon around. Like that was kind of her play. Like she wasn't above using seduction even to underlings to get to advance. You know what I mean?
And that was part of the maid's comments
Right.
too. There's a plenty other vermin that still get into this bed.
Exactly. So they're doing a good job expanding here. I'd like to see what they do with the Little John and the Millers who are going to become the Merry Men or whatever. They're on the run. They're being pursued. The numbers are going to increase of the pursuit. Another interesting wrinkle they added in is that there's now a price on Rob's head. You know what I mean? That's what got Little John there in the first place. But now you don't know if you get into the next village, has word spread because people be wanting 200 ducats. Pape says Robin Hood is not a fantastical story. King Arthur is more of the fantasy flair. Not yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. But you can instill elements of the fantasy there. You just need to establish that shit up front, and then I sign up, and then I go, okay, cool. She's got magic. She's whatever. She was trained, but if you play it straight, like you just said, it isn't fantastical, and I won't buy it when Marion picks up a 6-foot long sword and dukes it out with like the next captain of the evil guard. Like, no, nope, doesn't work. Sorry, not sorry.
So I would still classify this in the fantastical because it is legend based and there's woods around. How I was always told to tell the difference between fantasy and sci-fi is wood and metal. If your surroundings by metal, you're in a sci-fi movie. If your surroundings by wood, you're in fantasy. So that's why I would still classify it as a fantasy type story, even though there's no fantastical in it like magic and creatures and stuff. But
at a
it's
certain
still a
point, I think we're
legend
splitting
based.
hairs. Right. I think at a certain point, it's all about like what how you want to define a certain thing. I think the tone of what Pape's suggesting is so far everybody here is human. There's no magic. There's no reason to think that anything wouldn't exist in this world the same way it does IRL.
Except for the gods that they're putting in
this except literally for their god of nature kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I very much doubt in this show God is going to step down and stop an arrow from hitting Robin in the chest at any point, like Matrix style. He's never going to put his hand up and stop the onslaught. You
It stopped Little John coming out of the water, though.
All she had to do was show up with them blonde ass titties over there, and that's what happens. But you know, it ain't like she did anything weird. Fantasy is Merlin grounded friend. Yeah, Merlin's good. Yeah, Merlin plays it up for yucks and laughs on top of the drama and the action on top.
A question for everyone in the chat. Question for you. What is this is completely off Robin Hood, by the way. What is your favorite telling of the King Arthur story?
Oh, the Disney Sword in the Stone.
100%. Okay.
And I pair that right, and I pair that with your favorite Robin Hood story. Those two movies, I grew up on those two. Love them. Love the animation, love the story, love the performances. I get that they're silly. I don't care. I've watched them several times as an adult with my own child as he's grown up. He still loves both of them. They're perfect. They're absolutely hands down perfect, those two. And I'd maybe even throw in the Jungle Book with those to complete the trilogy.
See, that's what I was looking for.
Yeah,
that's the one I was looking for. That's my preferred King Arthur story as well.
It's solid. It's solid for sure. The Merlin show is not a bad King Arthur story either, though. But obviously, he's not he's part of the trilogy of like the main characters on that show. But I like a dopey melodrama with some bad Sci-Fi Channel special effects or BBC or whatever it was.
And
right.
I'm in the minority. I actually like the Guy Ritchie version with the Son of Anarchy, King Arthur.
Oh yeah. That's how old is that one now? That's a few years old now, though, right? That's been out for a hot minute.
It's at least 10 years old.
That's 10. I don't think I saw that one. I'll have to go back and peep that. I'll go back and take a look at that. I heard nothing good about it except that you just said you like it.
Yeah, the one I definitely don't like, and even though I do
Night.
like two of the actors in it, is First Night with Sean Connery and Richard Gere.
Yeah. Again, I've heard nothing good about that from like 93 when that came out and onward.
Yeah, that one was
not great. Not great. But I would tell anybody, if you got $8 in your pocket and you want just an interesting drama to watch that's got some action in it, got some intrigue, got some eye candy, they definitely toned down the Rob crying all the time melodrama in this, like him specifically. Like he's past that. We're now in the hero's action growing phase.
He's starting to, it's more the growing phase and realizing the situation in which he's in. I do like that he kind of, he had to leave that behind, but he had to go through that phase. Like that phase, it was important of his growth. But yes, moving on with this one, I think it's going to be really great. It is a different telling of a known legendary story, but it's not so far off where it's like, what are you doing? Unlike that one with Jamie Foxx in it.
Right. Now the beats here are very familiar. He's going to get to town. He'll have to disguise himself. He's still going to the archery contest. 100%. He's going to go do it. And I don't think I literally think because that's how he's going to see Marion again. He'll 100% go do that.
He gets another shot.
Wait, what?
It's true. It's true.
Oy vey. Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. But I think this is a solid show. I'll be watching the rest of this, unless again it goes off on a nosedive and they absolutely drop like the magic bomb into it and really just start. But that's like the meme. Then the car's just going on the highway, nice and even, and you're just going to dip off the exit and just completely sell on the magic. Like the show doesn't need that beyond the glimpses of the pagan god in the woods, just intervening from time to time or inspiring Rob at some point in like the dark moment of the soul kind of thing. Like she's not going to show up and give him the ability to shoot flaming arrows. It's not going to happen. We cannot forget Monty Python. Dude, of course not. Of course not. So yeah,
we already have one. I don't know. We already.
I do. We could double. Listen, dude. We could double feature because it would be on Winterwolf's first watch. Like I've only ever seen bits and pieces of the Grail. I told you that it's on that list. Like I've seen the main scenes. I've never seen the whole thing in its entirety. But we could pair that with Men in Tights and call it. we could triple it with Prince of Thieves and just make a whole fucking evening out of it.
The Prince of Thieves. Prince of Thieves. You.
Prince. Rocky, we could bring in the Bryan Adams to do all kinds of shit there. All kinds of stuff to be done. But dude, we've gone over even after our restart. I think we need to wrap things up and cut these videos into the pieces they belong in. So we will thank Pape. We will welcome Lauren, who was kind enough to give us names.
You could definitely tell we enjoy this show, but here's what the people have to say about it.
Look at that.
165 people rate it 7.9 out of 10.
Solid, dude. That's
this
both shows we're watching.
It's not getting the eyeballs that it needs, even though you can get MGM Plus on Amazon, or you can go to MGM Plus itself and sign up. Which that's how I have it. I have the MGM Plus app on my Roku, and we signed up that way.
Yep, it is available, like you said, through Prime Video. Like if you search Robin Hood, it'll pop up and tell you about the free subscription for like the week, so you can watch the first episode, take a crack at it for yourselves.
Right there's what you're talking about. The death of Huntington's sons deepens the rift between Normans and Saxons.
First 4 words. I'm like, dude, what is going on here? Who wrote this? Somebody should be fired for that. You know what I'm saying?